we've got an amazing special treat for y'all. We are going to do something nobody in their right mind.
He's the food scientist that loves food and will put you in a good mood. It's Johnny Aardvark, he's the life of the party.
What's up, Aardvark foodies? And today we are at Crumbl Cookies. It's time to go through the lineup of the week and learn some scary and interesting science facts about this well-known and beloved brand. It's Johnny Aardvark, and let's get ready to crumble! Let's take a look and see what they've got on the menu. Well, I'd say we definitely get a Boston cream pie, a salted caramel cheesecake, chocolate Swiss roll, one of my favorite treats growing up as a kid. And chocolate cookies and cream is never a bad call either. And of course they've got the classic milk chocolate chip and a confetti cake. That sounds interesting. Today, we're not missing a beat. We're gonna go with a 6-pack. Look at this ordering system. This is really fun, unique, and interactive, and it just looks cool too. All right, we got our 6 cookies, one of each of the flavors of the week, and only $18.99. Not too bad for all them cookies. We should probably give a tip, right? Okay, we're all set. Why is milk cheaper than Crumbl water? Bruh. All right, folks, well, we just got out of Crumbl with our big old 6-pack of large size cookies, and you know what? We couldn't help but resist snagging 2 nice little things of chocolate milk. I wonder what we're gonna do with that later. Come on, folks, let's get in the car and get on the road. Ugh. Big old box takes up a lot of space. All right, folks, we're back in the lab and we've secured the goods. Let's take a look and see what we got. Look at all that deliciousness. Sorry, so good looking it made me actually stutter. So we've got cookies and cream, classic chocolate chip, the Swiss roll, the confetti cake, the salted caramel, and the Boston cream pie. I cannot wait to give these a try. Oh wait, I don't have my goggles on. That was embarrassing, but now I've got my goggles and it's time to take a closer look. Look at all that deliciousness. And they are massive too. Had to sharpen up my butter knife. Here are just some of the fun facts about Crumbl cookies. They are baked fresh in store every day, and they change their flavors of the week every single week on Monday at 8 a.m. And one thing Crumbl is very good about doing is always updating their menu to stay relevant with all the popular trends and what's going on in the world. Like if it's fall, you know they're going to try some pumpkin spice, and if it's Shark Week, we might even get a special shark cookie. And looking at these delicious treats, boy sure knows I'm excited, and it keeps things fresh and exciting for everybody else too. Another really cool thing about Crumbl is that it was actually started by 2 cousins who just had a simple dream of getting a whole family together over a box of cookies, and they've succeeded. And now it's time for us to enjoy the benefits of all their hard work. All right, we've got our 6-pack, and so do I. Not yet exactly, but soon. We're still on that fitness journey, but you know, you gotta treat yourself every now and then. And man, oh man, this is the treat to treat yourself with. In moderation, of course. And then at the very end of this video, we've got an amazing special treat for y'all. We are gonna do something nobody in their right mind would think about doing. We're gonna take all 6 cookies, some of Crumbl's delicious chocolate milk, and some ice cream from our local market, and we're gonna blend them all together into an ultimate Crumbl milkshake smoothie! All right, first up, we have the delicious Boston cream pie. And I mean, just look at that. Look how big this cookie is. It's almost the size of my whole face. But man, it sure looks good. And it reminds me of a s'more, just maybe not so browned. Time to dig in. Now, because we're trying to be fancy about this wonderful experience, we're going to just cut it up into little pieces. And did you know that Crumbl actually has a cookie cutting tool just to help cut their massive sized cookies? Cuts them into 4 really nice sized pieces, evenly split of course, for everyone at the table to enjoy. Except I'm the only one at this table. All right, we've got a delicious looking bite here. Beautiful cross section of the cookie. Oh no, we just lost a little bit. You know what? Some would even say that's how the cookie crumbles. Now let's dig in. Man, that cookie is so big it's filling me up faster than a Thanksgiving dinner. Let's try another bite just to get a really good taste of this. That icing actually really, I think, is what sets this cookie over the top. Crumbl is known for being absolutely delicious and amazing with all of their cookies, but the cookie is cooked beautifully. It's nice, soft, chewy, not too hard, which is kind of a personal preference for me. I like softer, chewier cookies myself. And like I said, that icing that they use to make it really taste like a Boston cream pie, it tastes exactly like a Boston cream pie donut. Bruh. And that's saying something, because that's also one of my favorite types of donuts to try. Now, back to the science and nutrition of things. Inside one of these cookies is 600 calories, or 150 for a quarter of it. But come on, who's going to only eat a quarter of one of these cookies? So, inside one of those cookies is 24 grams of fat, 88 grams of carbs, 44 grams of sugar, and 8 grams of protein. And, like most cookies, it's mainly made of flour, sugar, butter, cream, and, just for that little bit of extra flavor for that icing, pudding mix, most likely. All in all, it's not the healthiest choice, especially for a meal. But, like we preach, everything in moderation. Keep it small, have yourself maybe a 1/4, maybe even an 1/8 of one of these cookies, or a whole one every once in a while. I'm gonna rate this buttery pie-topped cookie with ganache and pastry cream about a 9.0 out of 10. Solid, very solid. Very delicious and a great treat to enjoy for yourself. So the really cool thing about cookies is they utilize one of the most important chemical reactions in all of food science, the Maillard-Browning reaction. It is a very critical reaction essential to developing the key flavors that we associate with typically browned foods. It involves taking things like sugars, or in technical terms, reducing sugars, and amino acids, or in simplified terms, proteins, allowing them to mix together, chemically combine at very high heats, producing amazing arrays of delicious flavor volatile compounds and beautifully brown color that we expect in a lot of our good high-end food. So you're going to see some of the most classic examples of this being in, say, brown meat that you've eaten after you've cooked it pretty well. Steaks, are a great example. Cookies are another one. Bread, toast, anything really that, like I said, combines proteins and sugars. With heat, you get that delicious, amazing Maillard chemical reaction. And like I said, it's one of the most important reactions in all of food science. I remember having like a multi-day lecture on just that alone. Now, it's time for the next one. And I think this cookies and cream one is calling out to me. So let's get this guy cut up and try us a delicious piece of it. I forgot to mention, you can tell by the color, it's chocolate cookies and cream. Now, just right off the bat, what I'm noticing is that this cookie is a much harder texture and consistency. Definitely different than that soft, gooey deliciousness from the Boston cream pie. But we're all, like always, going to give it a try. Not bad. Classic Crumbl cookie. Cannot go wrong with it, honestly. Right off the bat, the first thing that I'm noticing is that this cookie has a much harder texture on the outside, but still retains that soft gooiness on the inside, which is always a plus in my book. So that means that this cookie is a little bit different chemically speaking. The bonds, if you will, within the matrix of the cookie are a heck of a lot shorter. That leads to that crumbly nature. That's why we call shortcake. In more things like bread and other types of pastries, or mostly in bread and dough type products, you're always going to get a much more elastic matrix, if you will, that is typical of those longer bonds being formed more consistently and homogeneously throughout the matrix of the dough. Taste-wise, it's pretty darn good. It's a chocolate cookie topped with cookies and cream. Whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. Who cares, honestly? It's too darn good. That chocolate cookie with cookies and cream icing topping, stuffed with white chocolate chips, that thing is next level. So I'm not 100% certain on this, but these cookie toppings appear to be Oreos. That seems to be what they've used to actually make this cookies and cream icing. It has a delicious chocolate flavor, and those white chocolate chips really do add a nice little bit of balance, if you will, to the darker chocolate, if we say. Oh man. And like I had said earlier, I love me a nice, soft, gooey, chewy cookie. And this thing is actually a pretty nice balance with soft and chewy on the inside, but nice, hard, and crispy on the outside. For me, it's a very easy, I'm going to be fair and just give it a 7.4 out of 10. Like I said, I'm a big fan of those chewy, gooey guys, but that is still delectable. Calories in this guy, very similar to our last one, 600 in the whole cookie, or again, 150 in 1/4 of it. It's got 28 grams of fat, 84 grams of carbs, 34 grams of sugar, and again, 8 grams of protein. You know, one of the most nostalgic things about cookies for me is my family's sort of history with them. One of my favorite times of the year, as you can sort of tell, is Christmas time. I love the holiday cheer, the gift giving, the spending time with friends and family that you haven't seen in a while. But one thing I loved the most was baking cookies with my mom. And man, we made some good ones. We actually made a peanut butter cup cookie and, no joke, a Hershey Kiss cookie. Both very similar, and both using those iconic Hershey brands of Reese's and the Hershey Kiss. And man, oh man, were they delicious. The peanut butter just melted with the chocolate and the delicious softness of the cookie, and we put a little bit of cinnamon on there too to just give it that extra sort of flavor. It was delicious, it's amazing, and honestly, I look forward to them every year because my mom always makes a huge batch of them. But again, gotta be careful and eat them in moderation. You know, it makes me really excited that Christmas is less than 2 months away. Honestly, easily one of my favorite holidays of the year. Wait, do you hear that? Where's that coming from?
I'm here for my milk and cookies, Johnny!
What in the halibut is that? Get out of here, Krampus. You're not going to ruin my holiday season. You know what? I'm so excited for these holidays and the festivities that they bring. Next up on the list is the confetti cookie. So, one thing that this confetti cookie easily reminds me of is birthdays and those types of celebrations. And you know, I've actually got a bit of a story about a birthday I had when I was younger. My family had actually rented out a nice little rec room and some solid time in the pool at the YMCA in our local community. And I invited a bunch of my friends and a lot of my classmates from school. And crazily enough, only 3 people actually showed up. And a lot more said they were gonna go. Turns out, somebody in my class actually convinced everybody to not go and to go to a movie or something like that. I don't really know, but you know what? I couldn't care less anymore. I've got the realest friends around me, the best people I could ask for, and you know what? In life, that's all you really need. You don't need a whole group of people to make yourself feel better or feel important. Why? Because you've got 1,000 people at your birthday party? No, you need a good group of loyal people who are going to have your back when you need it. That's the Aardvark truth. Now, let's celebrate with a nice piece of confetti cookie.
Bruh.
Oh no! It's like my birthday all over again! So, go figure, this is actually a sugar cookie topped with those nice, beautiful, colorful confetti pieces. on top of a pink cream cheese. Now, because I'm not the biggest fan of this style of dessert, but because it actually delivered and impressed, I'm going to give it a 7.8. Very solid still. Would highly recommend, and definitely if you like this style of cookie and this appealing aesthetic. But like with all these cookies, as we've learned, we've got to be careful about this nutrition. This cookie is so far clocking at our highest calorie count so far at 800 calories. That's a lot of walking. Or 200 calories, of course, for a quarter of it. Inside this cookie, there are 36 grams of fat, 112 grams of carbs, and then 64 grams of sugar, along with that standard 8 grams of protein. Well, at least that's consistent across the board. Very delicious, but again, something you've got to enjoy in moderation. Because if you just ate one of these cookies whole all at once, that's 2/3 of your daily minimum requirement of caloric intake. But there's no judging here. We're all about science, education, and living a good, healthy, and positive lifestyle. And of course, that means that there's got to be a balance in there somewhere. So you've got to work hard, and you've got to treat yourself. Because if you don't, who will? Alright folks, well right now we're going to do a little slapshot science. Right here I have approximately 9 grams of sugar, and that is what you'll find in an average sugar cookie. So just to take a good look at it here. Not a whole lot. Fair bit for one normal or sized cookie. But now let's see about how much is in one of these bad boys over here. Doing a little slap shot here. That'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 times 9, 63. So right here, we're in about just as much sugar as what was going to be in that confetti cookie right there. That's a lot of sugar, folks. One might honestly say that is a little unhealthy. So that's why we've got to eat this in moderation, and remember that just because it tastes good doesn't mean it's good for you. With that in mind, we're going to go on to our next cookie. Now we're going to try something I've been looking forward to. This salted caramel cheesecake. Funnily enough, this cookie is pretty chill. It's actually cooled and chilled in one of their refrigeration units. That's what helps to keep that caramel standing up nice and well. Time to cut her up. That caramel is holding together beautifully. Cookie already feels pretty nice and soft, so definitely a plus for me. We got this delicious looking cheesecake frosting. Ooh, getting a little bit tougher. Don't know if that's the caramel or the cookie. It's definitely the cookie. That is some good looking caramel. Now, funnily enough, at one of my first confectionery jobs in the food science industry, we actually made our own caramel in-house, and it was amazing. We used it in a whole wide variety of applications. It was also tricky because cooking caramel involves some really precise science. Essentially, you're mixing things like cream, sugar, and butter all in a big old pot and then cooking it to a very precise temperature. Because if you're off by too much either one way or the other, either high or low, you're going to end up with a vastly different product. And you're going to have things like glass or glossy texture or completely gooey and runny, and you want a really nice balance, depending on your application, of course. Now, you know what gives this cookie a little bit of a touch of something else, a taste of the sea, if you will? The sea salt that they actually use in this. Now, cool enough, sea salt is actually made from seawater by evaporating all of the water off and leaving the remaining minerals and salts to basically be collected, cleaned, sterilized, and processed for food. They add some really amazing, unique flavors, textures, and color. Let's give this guy a try. Full the way through, going for the caramel and the cheesecake. Okay, that is spectacular. The caramel sits beautifully on top of the cheesecake, provides it a really nice sort of bed, if you will. You can even sort of tell from looking at it that the cheesecake is actually textured slightly up around the rim, so that way it gives the caramel a really nice sort of coalescent point, so it doesn't sort of slide and fall one way or the other. And that's another good reason why it's chilled, is to also sort of solidify that caramel and keep it looking nice and pretty for the next customer to pick it up. And interestingly enough, it's actually a graham cracker based cookie in there. which is surprising because it is very soft, chewy, and gooey, as we've all learned, my favorite. It almost reminds me of my favorite treat. I need more of the s'more! Hey, you know, one of the best things about salted caramel is it really combines two amazing and just standard flavors of sweet and saltiness. So you get a really nice balance in your palate. The only problem with caramel sometimes is it's so gooey and chewy and it just gets stuck all up in your teeth and gummed up and it's a mess. By the way, is it caramel or caramel? Comment down below and let us know how you say it. Well folks, it looks like we've got a new calorie king right here because this cookie actually has 840 calories in it. And again, we've got 36 grams of fat, 116 grams of carbs, and a mind-boggling 48 grams of sugar. And the standard amount of protein we've seen so far, 8 grams. Man, that is delicious. But do you know what's even more delicious? Their classic milk chocolate chip cookie. But before I get on to that one, I do have to give this guy a good solid rating because you know what? Caramel, cheesecake, and graham crackers? Are you kidding me? It's like they made this cookie just for me. I am going to give this a 9.2. Very solid. Honestly, darn near a perfect rating I'd give it. But you know what? It's really hard to get perfect. You know, uniquely enough, they actually started to Crumbl with just this cookie. And by this point, they feel like they've got it down to a science. It's got some semi-sweet chocolate chips in there with, again, a dash of sea salt, which really helps cookies in their baking process. It helps to essentially allow the carbon dioxide and other volume fillers to expand, rise, and give the cookie a nice rise, fluff, and texture. So the really cool thing about chocolate, it's got some crazy sounding chemicals in it. It's got phenylethylamine, theobromine, and anandamine. All really cool chemicals that do some really special things. Now the cool thing about phenylethylamine is that it's sometimes referred to as a love drug because it's believed to induce feelings of euphoria and attraction. And then there's theobromine, which is similar to caffeine actually in the sense that it has a stimulating effect on your central nervous system. And thankfully, it's much less potent than caffeine. Could you imagine eating a cookie and being even more hyped up from not only the sugar but then caffeine as well? You don't want to be up all night, folks. Now we've got to give this baby a try before I lose my mind. Holy halibut. That's a hard cookie. Losing a couple of points already, Crumbl. We all know by this point, I like them soft, gooey, and chewy, but what? So this is interesting. Just giving it off of a general texture and a feel, it's very hard on the top. It seems very gooey and chewy in the middle, and then has a really nice soft undercrust. We gotta give this a try. Okay, Crumbl, I take it back. You guys have definitely mastered the chocolate chip cookie. Now, luckily, this cookie doesn't come in as our new top calorie contender, but it does still come up pretty high at 720 calories or 180 for a fourth. And cool enough, this cookie is actually posting some of the best macronutrient profile for all the other ones that we've tried so far. It's got 32 grams of fat, 96 grams of carbs, again 32 grams of sugar, and it's actually got 12 grams of protein, which isn't anything to brag too crazy about, but it's more than 8. I'm a scientist, not a mathematician. Bruh. You know, I bet what makes these cookies so good is that Crumbl really did their time, energy, effort, and research into really getting those ratios of sugar, eggs, flour, milk, all down to a T. Because that's the big component of cookies, those ratios. If you have too much baking powder or baking soda, the cookie's just going to practically explode due to all that carbon dioxide trying to escape from it. And if you don't have enough, well, it's just not going to rise at all. And you need some sugar, but you also need, like I said, salt to help sort of balance out the flavor profile and also help with that carbon dioxide gas release. Now, I got to give that chocolate chip cookie a rating. And because, honestly, it just completely surprised me, especially from that first cut to then the first bite, And it's a classic chocolate chip cookie, which is one of the most standard things that you're going to see, eat, and review probably all over YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 9.7. It was really good. So next up, we have the 6th and final cookie, the chocolate Swiss roll. This is a delicious looking chocolate cookie topped off with some delicious looking chocolate sauce and a swirl of marshmallow frosting. I wonder if I could make a s'more out of these cookies. It's time to cut this bad boy up and give it a try. Now it's time for the final of the first bites. Let's give it a try. Woo! That swirl made me want to twirl. Wow, wow, wee, wow. And I see where the idea for the swirl came from. It's because Swiss rolls are very traditionally known to have that beautiful, creamy, chocolate, bready swirl in the middle of it once you've cut or taken a nice big old bite into one. So, a fun fact, Swiss rolls are actually known by different names in different countries all around the world. In the UK, they're actually known as a jam roly-poly. Alright, if you're from the UK, can you comment down below if that's really what y'all call these? Because if so, I think we might need to look into renaming some of our stuff over here. But wait, sometimes in the US, we even call them jelly rolls. But you know, for me, I usually just call them breakfast. Just kidding, we all know I'm on this really hard fitness journey, but we gotta have some fun here, come on. But now, we've gotta dive into that nutrition of it. And it has a staggering 840 calories in the whole thing. That is 210 per 4th slice of this cookie. This cookie also has a staggering 36 grams of fat, 124 grams of carbs, 56 grams of sugar. Luckily, it does have 12 grams of protein. It doesn't necessarily offset all that extra sugar and fat in it though. But honestly, it's so darn good. We gotta give it one more bite before we give it a rating. You know, for me, out of all these cookies we've tried here today, that's actually my 10. I love Swiss rolls. They were one of my favorite treats growing up as a little kid. And honestly, that tastes just like it, from the icing down to the breading of the cookie. Phenomenal. Excellent job, Crumbl. 10 out of 10 from the Aardvark. Please bring it back. But bring it back along with a s'more cookie. Alright, the moment you all have been waiting for. What we promised in the beginning, we're gonna deliver. We are gonna blend all of these cookies together with some chocolate milk, a little bit of ice cream, and you know what, maybe an extra dash of sugar. Because why not at this point? And we are going to make an amazing Crumbl cookie milkshake smoothie! We are going to take each one of these amazing, delectable cookies. I might have one more quick bite of this one. Next up, we've got ourselves some delicious chocolate chip ice cream. And we let it sit out for just a couple of minutes just so that we would get this really good, nice consistency and texture. Because nobody likes to bite into frozen, hard ice cream. Because at this point, for all this sugar I've had, I'm going to be up all night anyways. And I'm going to be at the gym all day tomorrow. Now, let's add some delicious, wholesome farm milk. Now into the shake we go. Alright, now comes the moment we have all been waiting for. A one-of-a-kind, first in the world, Crumbl cookie milkshake. Whoever would have thought of this but a food scientist? Alright folks, goggles on because this one might get messy. Buckle up, buckaroos. Let's see what we just made. Wow. This is Nutter Butter. 800 milliliters it looks like of pure chocolatey cookie gooey goodness. Now, let's just have ourselves a little sip. Wowee. That tastes like everything we just ate.
Bruh.
I mean, shocker, shocker, right? You can really taste the crumble of all of the cookies, if you will. The icing mixed together with the ice cream blended very well. The milk helped to add some nice volume to it, and the liquid, and give it something to really sort of homogenize in. All in all, I'd say we got a pretty good blend. Oh man, this has been a great experience with Crumbl. From the moment we walked in those doors, it felt like I was walking back into a food manufacturing facility. Because it was all white on the inside, so you could see any issues, any stains, anything that shouldn't be there. Had a very nice, clean layout. Beautiful mixers, a lot of stuff right sort of in front of house in your field of view, so that way you can actually see the cookies as they're being made, baked, and even stored. So there's nothing to hide from Crumbl. I hope you guys hit up your local Crumbl store and hit these flavors while they're still in stock. Although honestly, you might be in for a new treat. Let us know what you think of the new ones, and as always, comment down below and let us know what's the best Crumbl cookie you've had, and what's a flavor you might be looking to try out soon. Thanks for joining us for another delicious adventure, where we learn about science and food while having just a bit of fun while doing it. We are just getting started on this journey, and I cannot wait to tell you about the mission that we have planned. We are going to learn about food, we are going to uncover things about all of our favorite and beloved restaurants, and of course, we're going to have fun and stay fit while we're doing it. This is going to be the greatest journey you'll ever be a part of, and I can't wait to take y'all along with me. So once again, this is Johnny Aardvark, signing out.
Make sure you save some of that for me, Johnny!
Krampus, get out of here. We haven't even hit Thanksgiving yet. And as always, if you liked the video, give us a like. If you want to stay up to date on all of our adventures and journeys, click the little notification icon. And if you love what you saw here, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.